Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tank12, however you gonna call me, I don't really care. And this is the first time I'm coming back at you with 4K. And I know we're just taking a look at the month. This is the monthly review of March this time around. And I know it's just a website that we're looking at, but still 4K. I'm not sure I'm gonna try out World of Tanks in 4K. But I'm not gonna promise anything if I'm going to be, releasing 4K videos now on World of Tanks because the game does eat quite a lot of resources now with the update 1.0. So 1.0 in March, this update, or at least this month, has been highly anticipated for several months now. Wargaming has had announced 1.0 a year ago, I think, or like a few months ago, at least half a year ago, and people got really excited and they pinpointed March of 2018 for its release, and they were really on time this time around. And you can really see that March was a very, very, very interesting and filled month. So, what do we have in March? Well, the month was started off with the selling or reselling of the Panzer 58 Mutz. Now that tank certainly is one of my favorite premium tanks in the game, but is it an essential? I don't really know. I don't really see it that way, but I think it's a great tank. I love it, and you can see that basically the first few news that we had regarding the beginning of March were all generally kind of sales or some kind of specials like double secret XP weekend, or updates to 1.0, so information that we had to the update 1.0. And I really like that they bring us the information. I always say that, but I think it's really important to note that because the information they bring to us, it's coming right from the source. We can use it, we can write it down, and I think it's a great way of showing the people like what we're doing here right now. You guys can see it, and we're kind of being transparent. I think that's important. Now they're not being very transparent with their premium tanks and their sales, but that's an entire other issue, and not an entire different video to talk about that. So then obviously they returned with the Mauerbrecher once more, the 3 times XP. Then the most interesting news at the beginning of March, I'd say, is their release, or the information that they released about the up and coming Italian tanks. 1.0 did not include them, but they are supposed to be coming in a very short amount of time. They said after 1.0, just a few weeks down the line or something like that, or maybe a month, we're going to get Italian tanks. And they're testing out the Progreto M35, the premium tier 8 right now on the live server, so I'm guessing the Italian tanks will be coming very, very soon. So right here they gave us information about the tier 10s, the tier 8s, the tier 9s, basically every tank that is coming, and you can see they look really, really cool. Some of them aren't really texturized completely because obviously they were still work in progress, but I think they're much further right now. But I'm very excited about the Italian tanks, and I can't wait to get my hands on them. As always, I'm gonna link this entire website in the description down below. Every page we're gonna open up is going to be down in the description. And yeah, so you can see March, like at least the real news in March really started at the 9th of March, because other than that, it was 1.0 updates and stuff like that. Very interesting still, but we knew that 1.0 was coming. We had a lot of information to that beforehand, but the Italian tanks, like concrete information, what kind of tanks were coming, was updated and released on the 9th of March. Then the history spotlight, Dogs of War. This is really worth a read. I'm just gonna link it down in the description below. It's really interesting to see how our feline, our little dogs, affected the war and were used during the biggest conflict in human history. It's very interesting to see how animals kind of what kind of roles they had during those big conflicts. It's not just dogs. This time around, obviously, the spotlight is on dogs because they were used the most versatile, but it's also like, horses, mules, anything, any animal that you could use to strap on something was used during the war. And I think it's really interesting to see those numbers. Statistically speaking, what happened to all these war horses? At the beginning of the war, the Polish still used cavalry, to attack German units that were mechanized at the beginning of the Blitzkrieg. But obviously, they didn't fare very well. But I think it's very interesting to see how these animals, or how pretty much the the war has developed throughout the centuries and ages, and how the different animals became less and less important to warfare. I mean, if we look back just 200 or 300 years down the line, a cavalryman was, I think, one of the strongest assets of an army. But right now, I don't really see that the use of cavalry anymore. Obviously, we have moved on from that. Mechanized infantry, mechanized um, units, and you don't really need those horses anymore. But still, it's very interesting to see the dogs were in war. They are still in war. I mean, animals are still being trained for warfare, and I think it's really interesting to see. So then they always released news about the changing of the maps, new level design improvements, My Sweet Fjords, Clan Wars tanks, super test. Um, this is where they were reworking some of the Clan Wars tanks, which were upgraded in 1.0, like for example the VK7201. This vehicle was played by quite a bunch of people when the update 1.0 hit. Yeah, M60, that thing needed an upgrade. I don't really own it, but I've seen a lot of people complain about it, and people weren't playing it as much since the M48 was just better. Then moving on, Countdown Week 3, we're very close to the update 1.0. You can see they're giving us some new information about the new map, Glacier. Very cool map, definitely will be featured in one of my map overviews that will be coming soon as well. Then the last chance to grab the T34/3. They are actually, this is one of the things that I don't like. I don't like when wargaming take away tanks out of the garage that you can buy for gold because you have the gold, but they want you to buy it for real cash. So they take it out of the garage and they make a bundle out of it. You're unable to buy it through the garage anymore. The same goes for the Type 62A, or not the 62A, but the Type 62. This vehicle was taken out of the garage, placed like on a hold for several years, and now they're selling it again like for 24 hours for, I don't know, $50 for one bundle, or else you cannot get the tank. So yeah, those things obviously are very, very sketchy, and I don't like that. That's the topic for itself. We're probably going to talk about that, but until then, we're just going to keep it at that and say that we do not like that. It's very sketchy, and I really do not like to support something like that. Moving on, update 1.0, brand new war music. The atmosphere in the games with the new music has, I think, become a lot better. I have music turned on now because it's not always the same tune. And I think it's very nice. It fits to some of the maps, but some maps still kind of sound really awkward. Like when you get on one of the maps, there's like some really weird music on some of the maps. I'm not even sure which map it is, but I've noticed it while playing. So, we moving on. 1.0 was released. This was the big update. This was what everyone was waiting for. And with this big update came 1.0 Extravaganza, the event. And basically, from here on, it didn't really go. Not a lot has happened since then. The event was really nice. I was able to pick up this MTLS. I was able to pick up 3 camouflages, I think. I'm not sure if I have it yet, but all of the people who have taken part in this event, who have played the game, will get the camouflage and double XP today, since it's Sunday. And Sunday means this weekend is going to get you double XP, so keep that in mind. For every win, you get double XP. And then they released the SM, another overpowered premium tank. Didn't really come well into the community. People didn't like it, and basically that's where the month almost ended. So the overview once more: what is happening in April? They're releasing a new premium tank, I think very soon. Um, Surprise premium tank sale. All that already happened. So yeah, it's the AMAX 1357. Yeah, I already own that tank, so I didn't really have to pick it up. But then moving on, the Easter weekend, they didn't really put that amazing stuff in it. Not a lot has happened, to be fair. But still, I mean, it's always nice to get free stuff. But the April Fool's Day was kind of a disappointment. I did give you guys information about the Grand Battle mode, the new Battle Royale, and they made it as a joke and said this was going to be the April Fool's Day, but it was only on the sandbox server, so the people didn't really get it, so they didn't announce it really that much on the live server, and it was only active for a day, so it was kind of a stupid gag, but okay, whatever. So overall, we can say March has been really active. There has been a lot of stuff, and I'm really happy that Wargaming are actively working on their game like they are right now. And I'm just hoping that April and June are going to get enough content to keep us guys interested. I mean, April and May and June. I'm not forgetting a month right there. So, as always, I hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.